Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha is Vayehi. It is a Parsha about endings and new beginnings. It is the Parsha in which Yaakov, after 147 years, knows that he is about to die. Our tradition teaches us that Yaakov is the first one to die of a protracted illness. That before Yaakov, people died after their 120 years. And when their appointed time came, they sneezed and their soul exited the body through their nose, which is the exact opposite of how the Torah describes the soul entering the body. You will remember that God breathed into Adam's nostrils, breathed his soul into his body, and he became a live human being. But Yaakov knows that he is about to die, and so he gathers his children around his deathbed, and he blesses them. And in our Parsha, the blessings take the form of a poem. And biblical poetry uses parallelisms to heighten the point. And the beginning of the poem, before he gives Reuven his blessing, he says, and I quote, "Assemble and hearken, O sons of Jacob, hearken to Israel your father." O sons of Jacob, Israel your father. And once again, we have this perplexing problem of what is this man's real name, Yaakov or Yisrael? After all, when Avram had his name changed to Avraham, the Talmud teaches us that from that moment on, it was not permitted to call Abraham anything but Avraham. Even to this day, we're not allowed to refer to him as Avram. But as soon as Yaakov's name was changed to Yisrael, after his wrestling with the angel in the middle of the night, the Torah uses the name Yaakov. And it's a perplexing problem. What is his name? And there's very little comment that I'm able to find to explain this, except I did find in a commentary of the Avnei Ezel, who is the author of a very important work called Ma'ayanah Shel Torah, Wellsprings of Torah. The Avnei Ezel says, Yaakov is his birth name. And he was always, there's a part of him which is Yaakov, that which is physical, rooted in this world. But after the experience with the angel, where he wrestles with God, and he emerges victorious, then his spiritual life is in a level of moral splendor, and that's Yisrael. And so the Avnei Ezel says that we come together as Bnei Yaakov, as Yaakov himself says. First, we gather as part of the people. And once we have the physical manifestation of peoplehood, that's not enough. Then we have to strive to become Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel. You know that technically one is automatically Jewish if born of a Jewish mother. There's conversion, of course, but that's not automatic. But the automatic transmission of status from mother to child is not enough. It's not a special distinction to be Jewish unless one lives a life which brings honor to Jacob, our father, and to God. It matters to me not at all that so many people who are Jewish win Nobel Prizes, a greater percentage than any other people. It's nice. It's good for them. But do they do it as Jews? What is important to me is that someone who was born as a Ben Yaakov, as a child of Jacob, will strive, like our ancestor, to become Israel, to strive with God, and to be victorious. Shabbat Shalom, and may you have a Zis and Shabbos.